Well, I'm in.
I've never been, my boss. I've never been.
No, I'm not gonna go.
But I've had them before, the taste good, so is the Hy-Vee rep.
I'd like to call the Board of Supervisors meeting of May 6th to order. Will we stand for the pledge of allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 2, I'd look for a motion to approve today's agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Look for a motion to approve the minutes for regular and special meetings, April 29th, 2025.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Claims for May 6th come to $116,089.90. I'd look for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Scott, meetings attended?
No, I had a DCAT meeting. I attended Zoom down at Burlington. Just basically, they just talked about where they was at on their budget, how they were gonna finish out for the year. They did discuss, I guess Columbus Junction gets some funding from them for a Soccer for Success program. They talked about that a little bit, I guess, but nothing, pretty much nothing too much. And then I had a call about a fence dispute up in Concord Township. And I explained to him that I'd come look at it, but that wasn't, that they need to go through the trustees. So I figured out who the trustees was and got them started on that process for him.
How long's the fence been there?
Oh, the problem was the guy tore it out and then he was claiming the property line was here. And then I said, no, it's here. So I said, that's the trustees that's got to figure that start that. So other than that, that was it.
Kevin?
I did not have any meetings last week.
We had a conservation meeting yesterday. Had at Eden Park. Wonderful day for a meeting. We've got a lot of plans for Eden Park. Now Eden Park is paid for by a trust.
Mhm.
That was all donated. There's no county funds going to that other than labor to mow and whatnot, but improvements are all being paid by a trust. They've got a master plan we went over quite a bit. I think they're gonna start with the shelter house first. The grand master plan, I think, however long it's gonna take, it shows camping pads and pond and fishing dock and it's pretty impressive. So, I'll be interested to see how that all works out, over the years. I think we're gonna start with, shelter house, looks like. Won't be this year probably, but next year. Takes a little while to make all those things
I'm
happen.
doing a disc golf over there.
Disc golf's going in this year, right?
Yep.
It's gonna be a cute little park when it's done.
Well,
It's a deceiving because it's up on a hill, so when you pull in, you see the play equipment and stuff. You don't think the park's very big, but it rolls up over that hill. And how many acres is it?
83
83 acres.
or more? No, that's
It's big.
maybe 280s.
Yeah, I
120.
thought it was around 160.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I have all these numbers, but there's too many in my head.
They got Matt has mowed out there, so.
Yeah.
Let me get time now to go out and take a walk. It's pretty nice. Other than that, it was kind of business as usual, really. Been talking with the guys with the solar, our array is going up real well. Looks like maybe by the end of the week, the rate will be up and there's, I'm not sure about the transformer. There was some above the line on the transformer. I think it may be here now. I think we're still on target for power shutdown Saturday. Tracy should be around for that. Other than that, that's really all I had. Item number 6, public input. Anybody from the public want to address the supervisors? No?
Just,
We're all bated breath. Just Adam. Okay, we had, Brotherton's payout request, he retired. Saw that.
Yeah.
I'd look for a motion to approve for payout request. The payout request with vacation, accrual vacation and holiday comp time, total payouts $2,326.81.
Make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Subdivision, R and L subdivision.
Still cook place, down on X 61,
Yeah,
they're keeping the bins, splitting the house off.
are they selling the house to somebody else, is that what's? going on?
That's already been sold, River Zit bought it,
Oh,
he's living in it already, actually. I did a water test for him.
I think they got a couple. Your eyes are mad, that one's in all the time.
okay.
Black. I can't say it better.
Yeah.
But that's,
Yeah, I knew they
That's
bought
bad.
that, I knew they bought that, for sure.
well, I thought he was gonna get the ground and he didn't end up getting the ground, so then he turned around and now he's selling it, but he's selling. I guess the bins and the buildings too.
Oh, he's selling them.
He's selling them separately.
No, okay.
Or at least there's still a for sale sign out there when I went by the other day.
They're still for sale.
Huh?
They're still for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. I'm ready to get it.
No problem.
Closed.
That's just been split. It was farm split once before, but that but once they split this house and everything, that's what created the subdivision.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 203518.
I'll second.
All right, motion second to approve, the resolution 202518 R and L subdivision. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Motion carries. All right, gotta find a spot. I didn't miss that spot. We need these back.
Yeah, I'll take that and put them in my file.
Told me, other than that, I should not be doing anything else, dude. I'm gonna keep on trucking. We did.
I might stop in one night. On the meeting, see what's going on.
Okay, that's fine.
It's so long.
Do I have to sign something here? Everybody
Yeah.
down here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not over the
Where-
top of anything, though, right?
Not on top of it.
not much way to go now.
This is good, so.
I probably went out and did an investigation. I sent it to you.
Was we sent it last week?
Yeah.
Okay, I got that one last week.
I sent a complete file, I have their attorney, so
Thanks, Sarah.
other than that,
Can I
just wait and see what happens.
Get ready for tomorrow.
We'll see. Have
Is
you
that the
been
correct
doing
spelling?
yet?
No.
Yeah,
No.
still waiting on.
Let me know when you find that one.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the name of it.
Yes.
I was kind of surprised how high that
Oh,
took us.
that was it.
I was too.
H-E-A.
The only thing I can think is they must have brought in a bunch of code to put in there, because it doesn't make any sense. And I thought, if that's gonna put it no matter what, that's the only reason I asked to get a perk test.
Yeah.
I would have never,
Yes, that
everybody
program
around.
stuff. Yeah, they give you.
They hit clay on all.
Yeah.
Where's that? Right out there at that house, little house.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
Thanks, Brian.
And there's the office building is apartment thing, that's all in play or something, but they'll.
I don't remember when they built that, but.
Move on to item number 10, ambulance report for Wapello, Columbus and Morning Sun. that reviewed those. We did have, one mistake on one of them. They included, health insurance, the previous ones. We struck both. of them.
Oh,
We got it on.
I was gonna ask, that's the question I was gonna ask, why that was so high.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we struck that and got that off. We're just making the adjustments, so we do have a MS meeting this Thursday, so we'll be going over a bunch of stuff Thursday on that. Any other questions on that?
no, that's the only thing that stood up to me.
Good. Adam, you're up. Looks like I got one more. Why don't we just do this windstream thing here first? Another windstream.
Yeah, it's just a bus service into a house there, so.
On at G44X. Nice. Good. Everything good?
Yep.
Make a motion to approve Windstream application. Project 32007.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I didn't sign anything on that.
Yeah, isn't there,
Motion, since this says motion and second,
isn't there a inside of the permit on backside of the next page? There you go.
ooh, I thought so.
Update on that one, up on each, or down on each 22 that we talked about a couple weeks ago. I did get them in touch with the DOT, so they are going to get the DOT permit through that little east quarter mile of H22, which will become, however, 78 at some point, so. Just follow up on that, so. Things going on, we are beginning to work, on this small bridge down east of Oakville. We're gonna replace it with a tank car. We got a contractor coming in tomorrow to break up the deck. And then we'll get it excavated in the pipe and leave it in there.
How long will that road be down, you think?
Well, should be open next Monday, obviously,
Week or so?
week or so, so that's the plan anyway. Work, up in Grandview, the asphalt's all done, the sidewalks are poured. They need to come in tomorrow and do a little bit of backfill, so. I think everything looks okay up there. I've had some compliments on it, which is a rare up in that area, to be honest, so. But, yeah, that's going well. They should be back in July or so to do T28 and X14 up in the Oakland Township there, so. Working on that. We did get our sign truck, and chassis and truck and all that in last week. We got running boards onto it and some more lights, but after that we'll be ready to go with it. The old sign truck will be auctioned off this summer at some point. Our Max truck that we ordered last fall, or actually last spring, will be in tomorrow supposedly. I have to take it up to Manchester and get the box on it and wings and plows and all those kind of things, so. Just a little bit of running around there. Most of the crew is on 10-hour days now. We have 3 laborers not on it. They're remaining on 8. One is Jerry Yakel, who's going to be gone on Fridays anyway. So, 3 of them on 8s for the summer, I believe, and then the office is as well. So, got that going on. We're still hauling rock, hopefully getting pretty close. I know the Oakville and the Mornings Fund areas are still at 80% of their total, so we're going to try to push through and get that done, but by the end of the month here. So Other than that, we got Mike and Justin are going up to Highway 92 meetings, which they scheduled at 9 o'clock on Tuesdays, so I can't make them, but. So, lots of things happening here, so.
Down 92, didn't look like there was too much activity on Highway 92. All of the roads starting to fall apart, so.
Yeah, last few times I've been up there, they've been doing a lot of utilities and things like that. They were up by Neely's last week, and I'm guessing it's communication or power or something like that in the ditch, so. Making progress, even if it is slow, so. They were out patching patching W66 and the White Way in preparation for the detour that's gonna happen, so. That's happening, so. Other than that, we're staying busy in the maintenance and everything, all that, so. Randy, would you guys have time to meet like this afternoon out at the landfill?
Yeah.
What works for you?
Sure.
You want to plan for like 1 o'clock out there?
Okay.
You know, it's dry and it's nice, so. Plan on that.
Okay.
So.
And it,
Other than that, any questions for me?
pretty good? Yeah, okay, we'll move right along. Item number 13 is discussion regarding the driver's license date from Louisa County. Like we have a
This
member
is
in the audience.
Julie Johnson from the DOT, Sean Main, Kevin Hartman, Scott Hunt, the Board of Supervisors. She came to observe, and if you had any questions for her.
Great.
You had asked me to get the languages that we have to Kathleen, which I did. Julie reached out to Kathleen this morning, and she said that they could accommodate flyers for that. She hasn't gone about doing it yet because she wanted to know if we were
Right.
gonna need them or not. She knew we could at least get the top 2 languages, possibly all 5 that we use most of the time. So that's basically the only new information that I have for you.
And I think the big one was the chin.
The Burmese and, yeah, the Chin and Haitian Creole
Yeah.
are the 2 that we struggle with the
Struggle, yeah.
most. Yeah.
Well, those that weren't privy, we had a meeting last Tuesday, a Zoom meeting with the DOT in regards to the driver's license station. They were very accommodating. They listened to our concerns. It was probably about an hour long meeting, maybe. They came forth with some helpful hints, and we'll call them concessions, but not really what they were. Correct me if I'm wrong, I go by memory here, they offered to, get us flyers on all the different languages that we deal with here in the office, so that the ladies in the office don't have to try to figure it out or get communication. They can hand them this paper in their language, and it goes through the list of what they need to bring. They offered to come down and do training on site with the ladies. What else am I missing?
They offered to let us use the state's scheduling,
Yeah.
which was something that we'd asked about in the past, and that was new. And then they mentioned the new system that's gonna be coming out in 2 years.
But the medical thing too, that is gonna have a number for the girl to call to send a medical question.
Yeah, the phone system, yep, that is written down here too, for that, because looking up all the medicines on medical reports is a very time consuming, and we don't.
Yeah.
No.
You shouldn't be the ones that have that information.
That's our ACE team and our driver fitness team that would be assisting with that.
I thought that was an interesting compromise. I hear a lot of people outside that really kind of want to keep the office open. I would be willing to give it a try for a while. I don't know what that length is, and see how this works. seems to be important to the existence of Louisa County, so. I'm only one person here, so I guess I'm gonna open this up for some discussion. This is the time that we have to discuss. We can't discuss it outside the door, so. What are you thinking?
Well, I really didn't, with the loss of an employee in there last year, I really didn't hear much that changed
Understand?
my thoughts on it. So
I kind of thought that didn't when you do that.
that's where I stand.
Okay.
I would like to bring it back and keep giving it a try, but I visited with Vicky also, and my opinion was too, that it just wasn't enough to really change the situation, and that's kind of the opinion I got from the visit with her too, that, yeah, it might help, but whether it's enough to,
We want to give it a try and extend it for 90 days just to see. I mean, I'm willing to give it a try
well, I mean, I guess I'd be willing to
and then revisit it a little later and see how this all
see if it
goes.
makes it.
It makes any impact at all. Maybe 90 days isn't long enough to get a good feel if it works or not. I don't know.
I mean, it's gonna be a learning curve on the public to get them to use that appointment system, correct? You know, instead of calling in and.
Exactly. That's what we're here for. Anybody in the audience wanna,
Well, I think you also need to look at Kevin's concern with the girls being comfortable, you know, with somebody taking the driver's test. You know, I think that's a big concern, you know, with the going out with strange people and stuff. I don't know whether, you know, we can remedy that within our own system, I'm sure, whether it be a reserve deputy or, you know, the days they schedule, they try to work out something with the police department or something, you know.
I understand that, but that is nothing new. That's been going on since it's open. So I mean, it's not like this just happened all of a sudden.
Right, but
I'm not trying to downplay their concern. I'm just saying
It's something that needs to be resolved though.
yeah, it's something we can fix internally, in my opinion.
I'm not sure that the sheriff is gonna be real, open to having a deputy.
Well, we got the reserve guys and, you know, there's other people that so they'll volunteer their time. And I just don't, you know,
You're right.
I'm still concerned with the girls being comfortable going out with them people. I mean, yeah, I'd love to keep the DOT station open, but we can address that within, I believe.
How do you see, I'm just curious, how you see that deputy or reserve officer, what's his role in that whole thing? Is he actually in the car riding with them or?
Administering the driving portion.
I'm not.
If the girls over there can get certified, a reserve officer can get certified. They cannot do that.
Yeah, right. I don't know that the reserve would have to be an employee of the county probably. I mean, some language things. I don't think a reserve isn't actually an employee. They're not paid. Reserve officers aren't paid, right?
They still drive county vehicles.
Yeah, but, and I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't know that answer.
Could you hire a off-duty deputy?
And discussions we gotta have with sheriff.
That deputy, yeah, you're in.
Oh, yeah, but are we in business to make money in that
No,
department?
I'm just reiterating the things that we've been, you know, talking about. Is if we're gonna hire a part-time, you know, to do those drives, then the employee that we lost in the office.
But this is just for a half hour or 15 minutes. That's a shot, not full time. You know what I mean?
I'm just going back to one of the main concerns,
Yeah.
why we were getting rid of it.
I get it.
And
It's
saying,
an
hey,
open forum.
we haven't fixed that
Yeah.
yet.
I
Is
just got,
there, I was gonna say, does any other counties have an issue like this that they've addressed in the past, or?
I think it's across the state. Our service centers have the same, they deal with the same language barriers and all of that, that all of you deal with as well, in all of our 18 service centers. And we're looking at different ways to resolve that. Some of the things that we're talking about is there's a tool called, it looks like a cell phone. It's called Pocket Talk. And it's just an example, not saying we're going to go with this, but it's something that actually you talk to this machine and the person picks the language that they use and it tells them back in their language exactly what you're saying. So that would help with that language barrier instead of calling a language link on the phone that you can't use driving down the road, right? So we're looking at things that we can utilize in the future for tools to help with things like that as well. But it's across the state, the language barrier is everywhere. And we're working on the best ways to deal with that in every instance. Not just for our staff, but for the customers as well, so they understand, and there's no, delay in getting them the services that they need because they can't understand what we're telling them.
Well, that's what my wife was saying, and I don't remember what it was called, but something like that where you actually have an earpiece and it basically translates right as they speak, and then they get an earpiece too, I assume, and translates right back to them. I think that's something the state should provide all the offices.
We are looking at different things, there's a lot of technology coming out that's new every day that we're looking at, that all comes back to budget too, and what we can afford as we can afford to do it. So definitely we're taking a look at all the options that are out there right now. It is a struggle. I did want to ask one question on the timing. If you're willing to give this a try and see if it works. One of the things with the Qmatic system, and that's the online scheduling, it will take us 3 to 4 weeks to get you guys set up in the system so your customers can go online and enter their appointments and schedule their times. So I just want that to be a consideration, that it will be a little bit of a delay. We can't turn it on overnight. We have to renegotiate, and get the contract set up for an outside party outside of our 18 service centers. So that will take 3 to 4 weeks.
Randy, the sheriff did text me, says that the reserves are county employees, they get paid $1 a year.
$1 a year?
To make it official.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Is there just certain days that you'd be driving tests?
Just on those days.
So would it be possible maybe we could line up a reserve guy once a week or something? Or
They'd have to go through training, correct?
Yeah, I'd like to take that back to my leadership and have that conversation about a ride along. If someone isn't feeling safe, because I feel like we need to put a process and a policy together on that. Because if one person is asking that question, the other 82 counties are going to ask the same question, right? So we want to have a process in place that's documented, and I can get back to you all on that pretty quickly.
On this?
No,
No?
I don't think so. I mean, what are we gonna find out next week?
Yeah. I'm asking. I don't like rooms full of silence.
I think
Yes,
you
at
need
this
to
point.
keep the service in Wapello and deal with the problems.
I think it'd be worth a shot to at least give it a window of some sort to try.
Keep it closed.
Well, there's three of us here. Five.
My only concern, if we keep postponing this, is our schedule right now ends in May. I don't want to start a June if we do decide we're going to end it. But yet, if we're not, then we're gonna have all this. It's being very confusing for the public. Right now, we're telling them we're done the end of May, and then we're still on this roller coaster. So
And
that's my only concern if we keep putting it off. So I'm not saying I want it one way or the other. I'm just saying,
I'm here sitting whether I hear a motion or we move on. That's my two options at this point that I see. I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to extend the driver's license for, I'm gonna say 6 months, because I think it's gonna take at least a month or so just to work through it.
Okay. Get the sheriff in here next meeting and talk to him a little bit about the portion that seems to be concerned.
Yeah, but I mean, it sounds like we gotta wait for some direction from the state on that, but
Well, I'm willing to give it a try and see if it makes any difference. If it doesn't, then we'll know. You wanna call roll?
Yeah.
Just so it's official?
Scott,
yes.
Kevin,
No,
Sean,
Yes. All right, so in that, we have to make sure we have all of our flyers. I think we have
oh, sorry.
all of our flyers that we need in place for the languages. Go ahead and get them set up on the scheduling system the best you can. We're gonna try to get the sheriff on the next agenda. I know he's listening, but he just texted me. Get him on the agenda so we can discuss this whole security, I guess, is the best way to do it. He's got some suggestions, but I won't announce them here at the meeting because I don't want them out there in the public right now. We'll do that at the next meeting.
Well, I really want the state to look into that language equipment, and I think they should be providing that.
your scheduling system, is it online only or is it, can they call?
They can call.
Yeah,
Yeah, they can go on the web and schedule themselves, or they can call into our offices and they'll schedule for
And I
them.
think that call center is in Des Moines, right?
Yes.
And then they have access to the scheduling system.
Yeah. Yeah.
She'll have to set up the days.
days and
the
times, and we still set up, yeah. that
Figure out what
part of it.
that's gonna be.
And we'll work with Vicky on that, scheduling everything and closing the calendars for whenever you don't want people in your offices for these services. And drive tests will only open on the days that you do drives, for example. So if someone is on the web scheduling, they will only be able to schedule those times that are allowed by your office. And same with our schedulers that they call in. Because not everyone is web savvy, right? We understand that. And that's why we get the option to call.
yeah, I brought that question up last week, and
So 6 months, I'm gonna assume would extend from the end of May, because that's when we were gonna shut it off. That would get us till November 30th. That's 6 months. Okay. You have a comment before I move on, right?
Do we need to run something in the paper?
I'll take care of that. I'll have to run another ad that says what happened, and I'll put it on the Facebook page, and I'll put signs up like I did the first time.
So was that a good time to add some of the other information you have as far as
I would
reminding the
think,
people of they can renew online and things like that, whatever you.
Well, that phone number,
I'll
that
get
you
all
can,
those, yeah.
phone
I'll get all
number, the
that.
web address or whatever too in that same ad. You get as much as you can in there.
Yeah.
How many scary ride-alongs do you have a
You'd
year?
be surprised.
Well, I mean, how, like 20, 30, 50?
I'm not 50, but, you never know
Right. And
what
you-
someone's going to be
Right.
like, and we don't get to, these are the things that scare me for my staff.
Oh,
Is
absolutely.
when you get in that vehicle, you can see what's on the dash, you can see maybe what's on the floor in the front seat, you can look on the floor in the back seat, but you don't know that there's not a gun or a knife stuffed underneath that
I
seat.
agree.
So that's the scary part for me, and the other thing is, if they don't speak our language, they're allowed to take an interpreter if they ask. So then you're outnumbered by 2 to 1 in that vehicle. That's the things that scare me for the girls. But myself personally, I've had a handful of them that have scared me, but not always necessarily for that reason. But that's again, like Julie said, it's not just our office, that's everywhere. Putting people in those vehicles. So, but I don't like putting my staff in, and right now I have one that is expecting. So that puts a whole nother avenue onto things that I don't really, she's her and I are the only two that give drives right now. And so that puts another avenue of stress on the situation.
And that would free up your people in the office from having to do that too, and they could still be at their job,
Mhm.
so.
So was we planning on turning on the out of county resident fee also?
I'm gonna, yes, I was planning on doing that first of the year, then we started discussing getting rid of it, didn't go any farther with it. But now that it's gonna be there for 6 months, it doesn't take much to set it up, so we'll get that started too, so. I'll work on the ad in the next day or so to try and include all the
I think,
pertinent information.
I think the Facebook thing, maybe you should throw that out there, it's free every week for a month or so, just to keep throwing it in front of people's faces, because they read it once, doesn't mean they absorb it.
Sure.
All right, there's nothing else, I'm gonna move along. Okay, item number 14, discussion regarding the part-time tent conservation complex lower position. Okay, so we put this out for bid. Had 3 people approach me. One of them dropped out, didn't think it was a little bit too large for him. He's more on the, in-town mowing spots. I did get 2 back. One was, thank you very much. 90, and I didn't bring the papers, I apologize. 9,600, 9,800 for the rest of the year. And then the other one was $100 an acre per mow. So at roughly 10 acres, that's $1,000 a mow. We've got 20-ish more mows to do.
Or more, or less, yeah.
I mean, you're gonna do at least every week here for a while, and then it might take roughly 20 grand, easy math. So, I told Jacob yesterday at our conservation meeting, I think our best bet here is to hire a retired or a young kid, buy the mower, and just put them on it and go. That the first year is gonna be a little expensive because we got the cost of the mower. But after that, we've just got the cost of the person and fuel and seems that if you're looking just at the dollar part of it, that's the cheapest way out. So
We already approved the mower, didn't
we struck it from the last
we?
one.
Okay.
So, I mean, we can go ahead and approve it and get.
Add it on next week. Yes.
So we gotta wait till next week to do that.
Yeah. But that would be my recommendation. If you want to do that, I'll do your motion, and then we're gonna have to do some ads for, go ahead and get ads going so we can get somebody hired.
Will they be mowing the whole complex with this mower?
Yeah, good luck, Block Logistics. Yeah, I think so. It wouldn't have a ROPS on it, so it'd be able to get close to, not necessarily underneath all, but closer to underneath all the solar panels. It'd also be small enough to do the sheriff's entrance, the public health squares, But it would also be, you know, the strips out by the
So this would
road,
be some hand trimming or something around the.
very much so.
And then we'll utilize that person for some tree trimming and planting flowers or just landscape stuff, light landscaping work out of it. Keep it nice.
Yeah.
And the conservation has been nice enough to kind of keep it mowed up until we get this taken care of.
And, I think who's gonna be in charge of that person, day to day?
My assumption was you.
And I'm okay with that, as long as we get it
You're the
established.
go-to guy.
Yep, and so then will the,
If you're all right, you guys are all right with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems to be I mean, he knows what they've done in the past and certainly wouldn't have public health in charge of person mowing. So,
Sure.
So that money that we allotted them will come back and pay this.
yeah.
Mhm.
If so,
So the only amendment will be for the mower or the.
that's coming out of the complex budget, so there really isn't necessarily an amendment.
there's a little bit of costs until the fiscal year hits.
Right.
I don't know if the budget can absorb that or not.
Yes.
Okay, cool, well then,
But if we were gonna hire somebody that, an outside firm at 10 or 20,000, then, you know, we don't have that there, so.
At least at the number you told me.
Right.
within reason, I mean, I can only cast fire. Yeah.
I'd look for a motion to add a part-time conservation,
Well,
not, part-time employee to mow a complex out of the, we'll call it the complex budget, basically.
Well, it's gonna be out of his budget though, because that's where the money's at.
And the purchase of the mower, move forward with purchase of the new mower. At 3,000, I don't remember the number now.
I think we're talking about doing 4,000,
Yeah, not to exceed.
not to exceed
Yeah,
4,000. I'll make that motion.
Okay, any more discussion?
is that person gonna be, while I am in charge of them, they are hired by, not the conservation board, right?
They're hired by
The complex.
the complex or the board of
Just
supervisors.
board of supervisors,
Board
okay,
or Louisa County. Board.
that's cool, I just wanna make sure, because if not, then they're subject to our junk and,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
How much did we mow before the panels?
Say that again?
How many acres did we mow before they put the panels?
Okay, so history lesson,
There's more to it because they've added the gun range, which before was just a big pile of brush and they've cleared all that out. So that added,
2 acres.
is it two? I thought it was more than that.
We burned it.
So,
But,
8 technically.
I mean, I kinda got a question on that too. I mean, do we really need to mow that much every week? I mean, like that gun range, is it that, I mean, can you just let it go up and you guys hit it with a bat wing once in a while? I mean,
That's not the look that is acceptable out there.
I thought that. isn't that
This is
kind of-
my whole
isn't
life
that
right
kind
now.
of behind?
Yeah, no, that's exactly we've let it go, like a lot of those places used to be grass and then we established prairie because we were trying to mow it. And so we can put it back, I don't care, but
Since I've been here, it's been kind of a battle because you get one board that wants it looking like a golf course. And then you want the next board that wants, I'm not gonna point to you,
Point
but
to me.
conservation minded, say, you know what, just let it grow up in prairie. And then you get all these other people yelling and screaming about it.
Well, I can see keeping around the building in the front mowed up tight, but just like that gun range, I mean, if you just hit it every couple of weeks or so, but.
Yeah, I don't know what their activities at the gun range are and they may have requirements. I don't know that. Be a good question. to
Is
ask
it,
the
is
sheriff.
that seeded down to bluegrass now, or what's it seeded to?
no, there's no seed. I
Oh,
doubt
there's no
there's
seed.
Oh, yeah, it's,
Yeah.
we burned it last year and
You're just mowing weeds.
yeah, we haven't mowed it at all.
Okay.
There's no gun range yet. I don't know if you guys have been
No.
out there to visit for a while, but it's just a big pile of dirt right now. And I think it's a wise decision because now you guys have the power to ask me to tell them to do, like if you want to manage it like that, if you want to have areas of high and areas of low and, or you don't have to hit conservation stuff every, week because it's behind a shed. We don't care. But sheriff's office, you make dang certain that
Yeah,
it
it's
looks
public
nice.
And it looks nice.
Yeah.
He's very
Exactly.
adamant about, and I don't mind him, he
No.
wants his office to look
No,
very professional, and I agree with that.
And so that flexibility there of having your own employees.
And I think the public health wants theirs to look.
Yeah.
They do.
As well.
And that's acceptable, totally, absolutely.
They're professional people, and that's what they.
Yeah. I'm comfortable.
Okay, good, all right. Okay, the last item on our agenda is the resolution, thank you, Jacob, have a good day. Resolution for the termination of, mental health agency in Southeast Iowa region. This is all in that reworking of the zones in the area, this paper came from them, all the counties have signed it, I think we may be the last ones, counties are on here. Appaloosa, Davis, Des Moines, Henry, Jefferson, Keokuk, Lee, Louisa, Mahaska, Monroe, Van Buren, Wapello, and Washington. This is part of the process that we've got to officially dissolve, and then the state kind of puts all the pieces back together, so. I hope it makes it better, because we definitely need the mental health part. It's,
I hate losing the local part of it.
I don't disagree with that, but we don't know what it's gonna be like later, so. I look for a motion to accept resolution 202519.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 202519.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That was all on my agenda, unless someone else wants to say one more thing before I call for an adjournment.
Can they schedule the driving test maybe one day a week and not do it every day, or?
I think they are doing it one day.
So it's for the convenience.
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays, okay. And are you looking at having, reservists do every drive along?
I don't.
Because, if they don't see them, they aren't gonna know how scary looking they are.
I don't know that.
You know what I
I
mean?
think we're gonna.
Well, that's how you judge them. I don't know how you
You
judge them.
gotta watch the legality of that there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's probably gonna have to be all or none.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I look for a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Have a good
all.
week. Good night.